This is The Club. We're here on Xbox 360. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is a run and gun, basically a gallery-like shooter sort of game was the idea behind this. Sort of like on the arcade machines of old, where you go around just blasting things and stuff like that. So it's kind of more of a streamlined shooter where the point was to score, well, as many points as possible, getting as many kills as possible, and making your way to the exit while building some crazy combos along the way. So yeah, it was basically just like a shooting gallery was the idea behind this one. And there was some online multiplayer, which I could still set up matches for, so I'm assuming that still, to some degree, might actually be kind of functional, which is a bit strange, but yeah, so what are we getting here? 720p, 30 FPS, and yeah, it's kind of a pretty straightforward sort of, you run, you blast things, and then you, well, I don't know, try to get out of the exit, and you do that for all these different missions. There's different tournaments, different difficulty tiers, different settings in that regard. Like, it's actually kind of an interesting sort of thing, and it definitely does, as I said, remind me very much of those old arcade shooting gallery scenarios. Where exactly do you want me to kind of go? Okay, so I'm following the arrows. You're supposed to follow the arrows. But there's a guy in there that I want to kill. Okay, we just totally got distracted here. And you've got a roster of different characters. It just, like, it seems like the game itself doesn't have... Oh, I totally missed this. A crazy amount of depth to it. I think the multiplayer probably would have been pretty interesting in terms of just, like, how you take a shooting gallery and you functionally, like, adjust it to playing against others. I think also the slowness of the shooter aspect of it, too, kind of makes it feel a little off and not super fluid, but, like, it looks visually kind of nice. It's from Bizarre, which made some pretty cool games over the Gen, kind of Miss Bizarre Creations. They always made some cool stuff. But, yeah, this one's interesting, because I guess, like, you could play the level, get used to the level, and then you could come back and, like, replay it again and have, like, a cleaner idea of where your enemies are, where the hidden secrets are, and then you'd be able to theoretically score more points. It is kind of hard to get used to this type of gameplay, though, because I am so used to games where you are actually... Like, this one, it's all about movement, right? So, the idea is that you're supposed to just keep flowing from, like, literally area to area, killing people without any sort of break in the process, and in your progress. Which is just, like, inherently a different style of, like, gameplay flow, if that makes sense. I actually really do get what they're going for here. The idea here is kind of interesting. And I think very distinct, because I'm sure a lot of people have played, you know, at some point or another, you've probably played some sort of arcade type experience where you're just kind of blasting stuff, right? So they're just trying to apply that, but they're trying to make it like a full scope game, and I think that's where maybe the idea falls short, where this would be better as more of an experimental, smaller thing. Yeah, small amount of points for that one. We've got another round to go to. And there's different, like, environmental areas and stuff. Like, it's interesting. It really is quite unique. Oh, and the loading is a little long for what it is, which is a bit weird. But yeah, the multiplayer you could set up, like, up to 8 players, different game modes. It's kind of a neat idea on that one. Finn, yeah. And every character, they have different, like, skill sets, if that makes sense. Like, different, oh, this guy does more damage, or this guy is faster. I guess it really depends on how you want to go about your play style, I suppose, and what character kind of adds to your comfort level of being able to, like, annihilate them. Yeah, they're basically, they're just cannon fodder is what it is. I always wanted to check this one out, and, like, yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit more... Well, I don't know if I was always wanting to check it out, but there's a few times where I looked at it, I was like, oh, I wonder what this is like. And this is definitely never the game I imagined it would have been. See, there wasn't Like, there was gameplay, but it wasn't like it is now in terms of, like, being able to see games like this, if that makes sense. Like we do nowadays, but... yeah, this is definitely not at all what I imagined. I imagined a bit more of a gangster kind of, like, story-driven thing about, like, the club and that, but yeah, this is genuinely kind of fascinating. Like, it's something that would honestly be more like... yeah, smaller, not like a full-scale kind of release thing. Genuinely interesting. And it's just like these quick level segments. And then I guess the idea would be to keep reworking the leaderboard over and over again in order to, like, really get the most effective score. Yeah, this is fascinating to me, actually. Because I see that the... you know, kind of the scope and the idea of it, where you're basically, like, going through these loops and battling and stuff. I guess many publishers declined to take this on. It makes sense to me, and then Sega decided to do it. It makes sense to me in the sense that, like, I find that this game would be hard to, this would be very hard to market and kind of get people interested in. Because you're essentially being like, hey, you know, you're playing sort of like a segmented, quick, like, arcade-like shooter thing, but it's set up as if you're, like, playing a full AAA kind of thing. Why did I die like that? You died. I wasn't paying attention that they had me set up to some kind of explosive thing. You can find me in the club. I guess you only get so many replays, too. Huh. I could find how it would get a little, formulaic, if that makes sense, in the terms of, like, the game itself not having crazy amounts of scale to it. So I guess I'm just surviving. If I go out there, I basically just kind of explode. Okay. And you obviously get more points for your shots, so if you're able to actually aim and get, like, headshots more consistently, you're going to get a better multiplier. And there would typically be music playing as well, but I've turned that off because, you know, obviously music copyright issues, I think, might be an issue with this one. Yeah. What an odd, what a genuinely odd experience this is. Like, I thoroughly, and I don't know if you really kind of fully grasp what they were going for on this by watching this or whatever, but as I'm playing it and kind of getting the vibe for it, I'm like, okay, I genuinely see what their idea was. I just don't know how well this actually, well, I guess it didn't work really well, otherwise this would have been something they iterated upon, right? But, like, the idea is actually kind of interesting. I could see you making, like, a really competitive shooter game out of the idea of you competing against other people and, like, sort of a hybrid multiplayer online thing that actually might be really interesting and addictive for some folks in terms of being, like, trying to get those crazy high scores, trying to get those crazy high point kind of calculations going, and then competing in real time and stuff. That would be really, really interesting, yeah. Like, obviously, I think this was a pretty failed attempt, because I don't think this is a big hit or anything like that. I believe it's somewhat hard to find, too. But, yeah, it was kind of nice to finally be able to actually take a look at this game and see what it had to offer. I think I'm doing well. I can't really check the multiplayer too much, because I'm too busy trying to, like, stay alive and shoot all these guys and stuff. There's so many of them. Explosive barrels sent flying. This is definitely an interesting setup here, because this literally is a shooting gallery compared to the other where you're moving. You're just, like, in one space here. Huh. What a cool setup for this. How did I do? I think I did pretty good on my score, right? Oh, yeah, I blew away the competition there. How come I did so bad in those previous levels, but in that one I just absolutely smoked them? Too bad there's not a path to more points in a single round. Holy. I literally nailed that. And yeah, they got, like, little cinematic things that kind of tell you information and all that stuff. It feels almost, like, slightly disjointed in a setup. Like, if you could streamline all 6 of these levels without any loading together, which you probably could in the modern era, that would definitely make this feel a lot smoother. I don't know, I think this is one of those projects that you just kind of forget about. If that makes sense. Survive until the timer. Okay. But I'd like to get some points while doing so.
Headshot. Great shot.
So now we're kind of just in the small vicinity area. And they just kind of pour in and you just shoot them. This is fascinating. I wonder if I would have liked this at all had I played this back in the day. I was saying this generation of gaming and the genres you got in terms of just like creativeness and people trying really weird things, and it was such an interesting time for gaming. Still a pretty steady flow of releases from different studios, and then also just crazy projects like this that are like kind of mind-blowingly different and out there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, I think the game's called Body Count. Yeah. Last bullet? Alright, killed him with last bullet in my thing. Still got like 2 minutes left. I love the crazy idea of this guy. He's just like in this room, just like obliterating people that are trying to kill him. It's almost just comical because it's like just regular dudes and you're just like mowing them down. My health is getting pretty low, which I don't love. Like, I want to keep my combo going, but I've only got 15 health, so like, you know, it's not great. I guess there's a health pack down here, which would be a good idea. Did I seriously just jump up and then like end up on the same side rail thing? That's kind of funny. Triple kill, overkill. Kill-tacular. I don't want my combo to bleed, but you know, I'm fighting against like 4 billion guys here. Give her all she's got. Yeah, they just keep coming and just throwing themselves at you. It really is quite fascinating. Imagine how hard this must have been to try to like sell to like publishers in terms of like getting interest and getting this like marketed and stuff. I think a higher fluidity would have actually made this feel a lot smoother to move through. That makes sense. I don't think I'm catching up to the highest score, but I am getting some pretty good pointage in. Because you gotta do this score while also not dying, right? And then if you're doing this at like higher difficulties, it would be a lot harder to strategically place yourself. But it does keep your like focus 100% on what's going on, which is kind of interesting. So maybe that's why also the loading too is a thing, is it's just to give you like a little bit of a like a relaxing point, because it is sort of just go 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 really quickly and then a bit of a break. Maybe that would be too much if you actually had 6 levels strung together. You might just be like completely focused for a set amount of time. Weird. Like, I guess if you sort of like just took it off as like a, you know, tuning out kind of like casual, just shooting quick kind of game, you find this really interesting. Kill for more time, get to the exit. Oh, this is neat too. I feel like Bazaar is just kind of taking some of their concepts that they developed for the, I guess you would say the PGR series, and they're just kind of like transforming them into a shooter. Really, really interesting. Really, really fascinating, yeah. I'm so all over the place too on this. Because I can see some people just absolutely hating this gameplay concept, whereas myself, I'm kind of like almost in the middle, sort of digging it too. Oh, so they're reusing this area again. That's a little lame. You know, if I'm on the first tournament of your campaign, and you're already using the content over again, that's not a great sign, if that makes sense. And I know they've slightly changed the level, but you're still going through the same spot. Yeah, I don't know how dynamic that's gonna feel. That guy just, like, dive off for no reason. Look at me getting all this time. I've got all the time in the world. Wait, am I just doing a lap now?
Headshot.
I see, you just go in a big lap of the map. Trying to gain points, and you've only got X amount, like however time you build up. Yeah, they basically just took car game mode concepts and applied it into a shooter. Clever, but maybe not cleverly distinct enough to really capture people. Oh. Yeah, it is. It's a little, like, a little bit feeling like Body Count, if you've ever heard of that one. That one's honestly kind of neat, too. Because I'm like, I don't know if I should shoot everyone, or if I should just kind of keep moving as fast as I physically can. Like, obviously, the score's just going to keep going as I kill. But once I'm first place, like, is there really a point for me to continue? Like, I've got 1 minute and 30 seconds. Theoretically, I guess I could just endlessly go around here in circles forever. I would never run out of time, I don't think. At least I'm effective enough at this where it's not a problem. Yeah, because I'm just adding to my time. I guess I should just sit here and, like, wait this out. Lap count 3 of 3. Oh, there's, like, actually, like, a lap count that I have to get. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So it's like an actual race, which, again, I was comparing to their, you know, the PGR series. Oh. I mean, even if I just sat in space for like 1.5 minutes, I'd still get through this easily, right? I guess I would need a harder difficulty for this setting, or this level, to really feel like I was getting more of a challenge out of it. A secret area? So where's the stop line at? Oh, the glass breaks? That's kind of cool. You can find me in the club. Okay, so that makes way more sense to me that there's actually, like, laps. Cool, cool, cool. Still second place. So those first couple rounds, they just kill you. No catching up on that guy. Run the gauntlet. Fight your way to the exit before the timer runs out. Wow, you got any more of those great tips? The timer hits 0, the micro explosives implanted in you will detonate. Oh, it's one of those, there's micro explosives under your skin or something and into your soul. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good way to get people to do stuff. Get to the exit before the timer runs out. Okay. And score a lot of points along the way too, right? 1.7 million points. Whew. Definitely a fascinating shooter game. Like, genuinely find this intriguing. Because it's like... Yeah, it's like segmented enough. Kind of build intrigue of where you're going, but it's linear enough that you just easily flow from one spot to the next. I don't love the shotgun. I don't love that they reuse areas. I think, yeah, too much area reusing the first section of the game, right? Yeah, 20-minute segments or so for doing each mission. It makes sense. This is actually neat, solid flow idea, honestly. I'd like to see a modern take on this and see what they could do with it mechanics-wise. I think there's something here with this. I really do. I think the idea is interesting. I still think you would run into the situation where people aren't perfectly, like, entertained by the idea of it. It's a mixed one for thoughts, I would say. Mixed for sure.